Hello there, good evening and welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Niket Karunaratne.
Hello there and a very good evening to you. I'm Sharifa Tahir and we start off with the headlines.
The US dollar dropped below the 300 rupee mark today. A rapid increase in dengue patients. The number of patients recorded edges close to 35,000. An apprehended fishing trawler with 125 kilos of heroin and 6 suspects brought ashore to the Colombo port. Sri Lanka commemorates the 14th anniversary of liberating the country from the grasps of LTTE terrorism. A remembrance program in the memory of the deceased victims of the humanitarian operations took place in Mullawaikal. The first installment of the Aswasuma benefit scheme will be distributed from July. Prince Harry and Meghan experience a near-catastrophic paparazzi car chase in New York.
We move on to those and other stories in detail now. And moving on to the top stories, the US dollar rate dropped below 300 rupee mark today after a period of 1 year.
Accordingly, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has mentioned that other foreign currency rates have also reduced comparatively. According to today's foreign exchange rates of the Central Bank, the buying rate of the US dollar was at 299.21 rupees. The rate of the US dollar had further slumped at a few commercial banks in the country as well. Accordingly, the rate maintained between 296 and 300 rupees. The buying rate of a sterling pound was at 372 rupees, while the euro was at 323. The buying rate of the Chinese yuan was at 41 rupees, while the buying rate of Japanese yen was recorded at 2 rupees. Meanwhile, the central bank has withdrawn the cash margin deposit requirements imposed on commercial banks against letters of credit, the licensed commercial banks, from today. Now, Director General of Health Services, Dr. Ceylon says the overall number of dengue patients in the country has increased up to 34,801.
Addressing the media, he said that the majority of the patients has been reported from the Western Province. The most number of patients were reported from Western Province, amounting to 17,201. The next highest number of patients has been reported from the Eastern Province with 4,303 patients. Dehiwala, Piliyandala, Homagama, Kaduwala, Maharagama, Moratuwa, Gottatuwa, Battaramula, Ratnadana, Egoda Uyana, Hamwalla, D4 and D5 areas in Colombo Municipal Council limits, as well as Kulanava and Pitakot areas in Colombo district have been identified as high-risk zones. Attanagala, Biagama, Divulapitiya, Gampaha, Jayala, Katana, Kalaniya, Dompe, Mahara and Nigama Municipal Council areas are as well known as Minuangoda, Mirgama, Ragama and Battala in Gampaha district have also been identified as high-risk zones. Meanwhile, high-risk zones in Kalatara district are Panadura, Horana, Beruala and Ingiriya Medical Health Officers Divisions. Dr. Ceylon said that individuals suffering from fever, headache and soreness should seek medical advice and treatment from the nearest government hospital. He urged the public not to consume paracetamol and not to receive any appropriate treatments for the disease. Inspections are underway across Kalatara district for potential dengue breeding and spreading places. Accordingly, construction sites in Magona, Beruala and Kalatara medical offices of health divisions were inspected.
A trawler which was taken into custody for transporting a cache of illegal drugs in the high seas off the southern coast was brought ashore to the Colombo port today. Approximately 125 kilograms of narcotics was taken into custody in a coordinated intelligence operation conducted by the State Intelligence Service and the Sri Lanka Navy. The joint operation also led to the arrest of 6 suspects aboard the multi-day fishing trawler. The relevant operation was conducted by the SLNS Vijayabahu. The trawler has been identified as a fisheries boat which had been used in the Negombo area. Navy Commander Vice Admiral Priyantha Pereira was also present on this occasion.
Sri Lanka commemorates the 14th anniversary of liberating the motherland from the grasps of LTTE terrorism. The final journey of the LTTE organization, which showcased its violent brutality to the entire world, began in the month of July 2006 after the LTTE suspended an irrigational water supply in an effort to exhibit their separatist ambitions to the global community. The LTTE terrorists damaged close to 30,000 acres of agricultural lands in Serunuvara agrarian villages after suspending the irrigational and drinking water supply by closing down the Serunuvara Mavilaru Anicut. Accordingly, humanitarian operations were commenced to liberate the Mavilaru Anicut and restore water supply after the terrorists denied the request made by the government. Consequently, Sri Lanka military was able to successfully complete the operation and provide the water supply for agrarian purposes. Subsequently, former President and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa ordered the Tri-Forces to commence the operations to completely eliminate the activities of the terrorists in Eastern Province. Accordingly, strategic operations to eliminate terrorism in Eastern Province were commenced by the Tri-Forces under the coordination of the Defence Secretary and former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The humanitarian operations extended to LTTE-controlled Sampur, Toppigala and Kandikudicciyaru, Verugal, Peraru, Bakare and Kadiravelu areas. Accordingly, the Tri-Forces were able to gain complete freedom for the resident communities in Eastern Province in the month of July 2007. Subsequently, the humanitarian operations were commenced in Silavathura and Mannar areas in the Northern Province. The 58th Brigade, led by former Army Commander General Shavendra Silva, was the first brigade to free the area and continued its operations up to north from Mannar via Andampan area. Accordingly, 57th Brigade and 59th Brigade took their first steps to eliminate terrorism from Erenei Ilupaikulam area and Velioya area in Vavuniya, respectively. The 2nd Task Brigade, 3rd Task Brigade and 4th Task Brigade commenced their operations from Palamotte area, Vanni Vilankulam area and Nedunkarni area respectively. Meanwhile, 53rd and 55th Brigades in charge of the security circle in Kilali Mohamale Nagarkovil began to ascend towards the south while penetrating terrorist defences. Accordingly, the 8th Task Brigade joined the humanitarian efforts to support of the battalions which were pressurizing the LTTE terrorists from the 9 frontline engagements. In February 2009, the LTTE terrorists were limited to a couple of square kilometers of lands in Pudukudiripu, which was suffering a heavy blow from the frontline operations. However, they used the civilians of the area as a human shield. Accordingly, the war heroes were able to engage in their humanitarian efforts without incurring any damages to innocent civilians using military strategies and plans. The military was able to secure the terrorist-controlled area after rescuing the civilians and declare the victory against the terrorism on the 18th of May 2009. The declaration of the complete elimination of terrorism from Sri Lanka was made after the death of the leader of LTTE, Velupillai Prabhakaran, on the 19th of May. The Sri Lanka Navy and Air Force as well as Sri Lanka Police, Police Special Task Force and Civil Defence Corps contributed immensely for the humanitarian operations. In the past, the war heroes engaged in a humanitarian operation to free the civilians from the clutches of the terrorists. Today, they are in the front line of a humanitarian effort to save the nation from a global pandemic.
A remembrance program was held in Mullivaikal area in Mullaitivu today in memory of the deceased victims during the final days of the humanitarian operations. It was organized by Mullivaikal Joint Committee. The program was commenced at 10:30 am with the participation of parliamentarians Sridharan and M.A. Sumandiran. Those who gathered at the site lit lamps in memory of their deceased relatives. Another remembrance was held in the memory of the citizens who died during the final days of the humanitarian operations this morning in front of the Burala Cemetery. It was held with the participation of religious leaders and various civil society activists. Parliamentarian Shanakyan Rasamanikam was also present on this occasion. However, another group of protesters had raised objections to the remembrance ceremony as they were preparing to light lamps and make floral tributes for the deceased victims. A tense situation had transpired amongst the two groups and police were called to the spot to prevent any clash between the groups. Steps were taken to deploy water cannons and riot police officers as well as police special task force and the Sri Lanka Army to subdue the situation. During the commotion, the civil society activists were able to commemorate the deceased victims by lighting up lamps. Police took measures to disperse the crowds following the remembrance event.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena paid his last respects to the late Chief Prelate of Sri Lanka Amarapura Mahanikaya, Most Venerable Dodam Pahala Chandra Siri Thera today. The funeral of the late Thera will be held with full state honours at the Independence Square, Colombo on the 21st. The remains of the late Mahanayaka Thera are kept at the Kalapalwava Sri Thopavana Sangha headquarters for public respects. The late Mahanayaka Thera is renowned for his utmost commitment in rendering an immense service for the benefit of the Buddha Sasana and the nation. Mahasangha have said that the demise of the late Mahanayaka Thera has left a void in this era, as he excelled in preaching Dhamma and sharing practical insight over the priesthood with young Bhikkhu generation.
President of the Federation of University Teachers Association, Professor Shyama Bannahaka, says the discussion between the President and the association today creates positive expectations. He made these remarks while speaking to media following the meeting. Professor Shyama Bannahaka said that the discussion with the President was concluded on a positive note. He also said that the association can be hopeful in receiving positive solutions for the issues faced by the universities under the economic situation. Chairman of the University Grants Commission, Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga, said that the discussion was successful as they received solutions to recruit the needed staff for this year and planning to forward a proposal over the recruitments to the next cabinet. He also said that there is a large number of vacancies in the university system. He further added that they received solutions to recruit lecturers to the newly formed faculties as well.
Chairman of the Swasama Welfare Benefit Board, B. Vijayaratna, says that the first instalment of the Welfare Benefit Payment Scheme will commence from the month of July. He said that all necessary preparations in this regard have been arranged. Chairman of the Swasama Welfare Benefit Board, B. Vijayaratna, said that the government has instructed to proceed with installment payments from July onwards. He said that the necessary payments will be carried out by categorizing the beneficiaries into 4 groups, including vulnerable and extreme poverty. He further said that those who are in the poverty categories will be removed from the categories and new beneficiaries will be replaced when the program continues to next year. Hence, he said that this program must be carried out continuously in order to gain the benefits. He also said that people who have not been included into the scheme have the opportunity to apply following the payment of the first installment in the month of July.
Minister Prasanna Ranatunga says certain entities are attempting to sabotage the distribution of compensation for fisheries communities experiencing economic difficulties following the Express Pearl Ship incident. He emphasized that this issue can be resolved successfully by working together. Another phase of the distribution of compensation for fisheries communities experiencing economic difficulties due to the Express Pearl Ship incident was held at the Negombo Municipal Council auditorium with the participation of Minister Prasanna Ranatunga yesterday. At present, close to 1 billion rupees in compensation has been distributed among the fisheries community impacted from the incident through 27 categories under 3 phases. Under the 4th phase, 300 fishermen received compensation yesterday. 37 trained air traffic controllers were recruited for services today.
The event was held at the Ministry of Aviation Services with the participation of Minister Nimal Siripana de Silva. The Airport and Aviation Services Limited has to maintain a staff of 137 air traffic controllers for operational purposes. However, only 76 air traffic controllers are available for services, with a shortage of 61 to maintain the operations. This has been caused by the migration of air traffic controllers overseas employment with high salaries. 22 recruits are currently receiving training to become air traffic controllers and expected to complete the training following a period of 1 year. The newly recruited trained controllers required to undergo a training of 1.5 years at the Air Traffic Control Tower.
The Bank of Ceylon Annual Report 2022 was presented to President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Ministry of Finance today. The annual report was handed over by Chairman of the Bank of Ceylon, Ronald C. Pereira. Interested individuals can visit the websites of the Bank of Ceylon, www.boc.lk, and the stock exchange, www.cse.lk, to access the annual report of the Bank of Ceylon 2022. In the future, the report will also be made available to the public and business people in both Sinhala and Tamil languages.
The annual general meeting of the Thai Tourism Organization in India is set to be held in Sri Lanka. Accordingly, the AGM will be held from July 6th to 9th in Colombo. The India-Thai Tourism Organization is one of the main organizations which bring down tourists to Sri Lanka. Close to 500 mainstream tourism promoters are expected to participate in the meeting. Also, close to 50 foreign media personnel are expected to take part in the event. Minister Harin Fernando said that a positive image can be brought before the world through such initiatives. Minister Harin Fernando said that Sri Lanka has been able to place among the top travel destinations in the world with the support of India. He said that the tourism industry can be revived with this support. He added that they charge around $20 to grant visa for Indian tourists as present. He said that they are expecting to make a request to remove the charge and grant visa free of charge. He said that this will help the country to increase its incomes.
Ambassador of Sri Lanka to Jordan, Priyangika Vijay Gunasekara, paid a courtesy call on the Minister of Culture, Haifa Najjar of Jordan recently. The minister welcomed the ambassador and wished her success during her assignment in Jordan. The Jordan minister called for deepening the cultural exchange between the two countries through visits and events and the need to exchange of expertise in culture and arts. She also praised Sri Lanka for its rich cultural diversity. The minister invited Sri Lanka to take part in the upcoming Jarash festival to be held in August this year. During the meeting on expansion of cultural relations, the ambassador said that efforts are underway to enforce the assigned cultural cooperation agreement between Jordan and Sri Lanka in 2007, which will set a solid framework for stronger cultural relations. Both sides agreed to mobilize all efforts to ensure the success of cultural cooperation between the two countries.
The second experts meeting on the migration partnership between Sri Lanka and Switzerland was held recently at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The meeting reviewed the progress made under the migration partnership since its launch in 2016 and discussed the priorities and challenges for the future. The meeting was co-chaired by Director General of Europe and North America of the Foreign Ministry, Shobhini Gunasekara, and Director of International Affairs of State Secretariat for Migration, Federal Department of Justice and Police of Switzerland, Ambassador Vincenzo Massioli. The two sides reaffirmed their commitment to enhancing bilateral cooperation on migration issues. They also exchanged views on current migration trends, developments and avenues for promoting employment opportunities in Switzerland for skilled workers from Sri Lanka. Both sides agreed to explore possible future cooperation in the hospitality sector, especially sustainable tourism, and also in the fields of vocational training, skills development and sustainable reintegration. The Swiss delegation extended their appreciation towards Sri Lanka for its excellent cooperation in matters related to migration.
Brazil, through the Brazilian Cooperation Agency, donated a consignment of medical supplies to Sri Lanka. The consignment includes 10,000 vials of regular human insulin and 8 million polypropylene tips. State Minister Talaka Balasuriya received the donation from Brazilian ambassador to Sri Lanka, Sergio Luiz, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs recently. Highlighting the long-standing friendly relations between Sri Lanka and Brazil, the State Minister expressed appreciation for this goodwill gesture by the government of Brazil. The Embassy of Sri Lanka in Brazil coordinated the donation.
Veteran artist Christopher Paul passed away today. He was 87 years of age at his demise. He entered into the musical realm in 1959 with the song Hamal Pipenne Ganga Galane. He continued to remain in the industry for nearly 7 decades with more than 500 songs. His most popular songs are Pim Lokepura, Rosamalak Tutuama and many more. He is also an A-grade singer at the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The remains of the late Christopher Paul are currently kept at a private funeral parlour in Kandana area. The final rites will be held at the Roman Catholic Cemetery in Valigampitiya on coming Saturday. Seminar on development and regulation of animation industry for developing countries was held last month. The workshop was held at the Hunan International Business Vocational College in Changshashi, Hunan Province, China. Through the 14-day seminar, participants were able to gain knowledge on development and current situation of animation industry in Hunan and China. Participants during the seminar were able to put forward useful suggestions for the development and management for animation creation and lay a good foundation for further exchanges and cooperation between China and other developing countries. The seminar was attended by participants from various developing countries. The workshop was organized by Hunan International Business Vocational College. The college has previously organized 36 trainings and seminars related to film and TV media for over 10,000 officials and technical experts by the end of 2022.
On behalf of all participants, I would like to thank the Chinese government, especially the Ministry of Commerce, Hunan International Business Vocational College for organizing these type of seminars each year aiming at developing countries like Sri Lanka with the collaboration of an international development cooperation agency.
Well, that's it on local stories. We'll be back with news overseas.
dengue රෝගයේදී උණ හිසරදය ඇඟපත වේදනාව ඇති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. උණ අඩු කිරීමට පැරසිටමෝල් ඖෂධය පමණක් භාවිතා කළ යුතුයි. උණ දිගටම පැවතුනහොත් තුන්වන දිනේදී වෛද්‍යවරයෙකු හමු වී රුධිර පරීක්ෂාවක් කරගත යුතුයි.
Welcome back. We move on to news overseas now. Foreign media reports that Prince Harry, Meghan and her mother were involved in a near-catastrophic car chase involving paparazzi.
The incident happened after the Duke and Duchess of Sussex attended an award ceremony in New York recently. In a statement, their spokesperson said the relentless pursuit lasted for more than 2 hours and resulted in multiple near collisions. The New York Police Department said there were no arrests or injuries. The NYPD confirmed an incident took place involving Harry and Meghan and said numerous photographers made their transport challenging. No injuries or arrests were reported, the police said. Buckingham Palace has not yet commented. Entertainment picture agency Backgrid issued a statement saying it was investigating the conduct of several freelance photographers, but that their initial account of events differed that of the Sussexes. The photographers have reported fleeing that the couple was not in immediate danger at any point, it said. It followed claims that the chase involved half a dozen cars with reckless driving, including going through red lights, driving on the pavement, carrying out blocking moves and reversing down a one-way street, as well as taking photographs while driving.
Foreign media reports that 3 children and a baby were reported to have been found alive more than 2 weeks after a plane crashed with them on board in the Colombian Amazon jungle. Colombian authorities had deployed more than 100 soldiers with sniffer dogs to search for the children who were traveling in a plane that crashed in the Amazon 17 days ago, killing 3 adults. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro said in a tweet that the children were discovered after difficult search efforts by the military. Yesterday, the Colombian armed forces said that search efforts intensified after rescuers came across a shelter built in an improvised way with sticks and branches, leading them to believe there were survivors. However, there were no reports from the Colombian military confirming the discovery of the children.
Sniffer dogs found half-eaten fruit, scissors.
Montana is set to become the first U.S. state to ban Chinese-owned media giant TikTok from personal devices. Governor Greg Janfort signed the ban into law yesterday. The video sharing platform says that the ban infringes on the First Amendment rights of the people of Montana. TikTok has come under scrutiny from authorities around the world over concerns that data could be passed into the Chinese government. Lawmakers have claimed that a wider ban would further share priority to protect Montanans from Chinese Communist Party surveillance. TikTok said in a statement that it was used by hundreds of thousands of people in Montana. TikTok is expected to challenge the legislation in the courts last month. Lawmakers in Montana passed a bill banning TikTok on personal devices by a vote of 54 to 43. The law will make it illegal for app stores to offer TikTok, but does not ban people who already have TikTok from using it. Montana, which has a population of just over 1 million, banned the app on government devices last December. TikTok says it has 150 million American users. Although the app's user base has expanded in recent years, it is still most popular with teenagers and users in their 20s. However, there are concerns across U.S. political spectrum that TikTok could be a national security risk.
It's listed for $355,000.
And on Sports News 4 tonight, foreign reports have indicated that 3 of the 4 sexual assault charges against Sri Lankan cricketer Danushka Gunatilaka have been dropped. The Attorney General of Australia has made the relevant announcement in this regard.
The 3 counts of charges had been withdrawn after the 32-year-old cricketer appeared before the Sydney courts. He was arrested last year during the T20 World Cup, and the case will be taken up for hearing again on the 13th of July.
Playoff buzzer.
Delhi Capitals secured a 15-run victory in an Indian Premier League match played against Punjab Kings. The match was played in Dharamshala yesterday. Batting first, Delhi Capitals scored 213 runs with a loss of 2 wickets. Willie Russo scored 82 not out, while Prithvi Shaw scored 54. Sam Curran picked up 2 wickets for Punjab, and chasing a target of 214, Punjab only managed to gather 198 runs with a loss of 8 wickets. Liam Livingston scored 94, Ishant Sharma and Anrish Nosh picked up 2 wickets each for Delhi.
Hasn't quite hit that.
And that's all the news for tonight. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.